Hi, I'm Vince Weston, and here we are with a mess of the little van. Where to start? It was a long week last week, and I won't whine too much, but there were 6 pieces I had originally decided because of the damaged chrome that I was going to strip. That was the roll bar, the front pan, and all 4 outside wheels. Well, I thought that was going to be an easy task of stripping, but it turned out it really wasn't. I started off with bleach, which I've had success with in the past, and that took off a little, but not too much. Then I moved over to brake fluid, which is supposed to work really well, not so good. And finally, about the 3rd, 4th, or 5th day in my stripping project, I decided that I was going to try oven cleaner. Now, I had an old can around because we have a self-cleaning oven, so we don't keep that in stock. And I had just enough. And finally had success, got everybody stripped. And by the way, these parts are yellow underneath. Same color as the whole car. That it does include the parts that are chromed, by the way, which I'll mention now makes great for scraping paint for gluing purposes, or trying to find chips in it, because with white plastic, which normally they are, it doesn't show up so well, but with this nice bright yellow, it stands out against the chrome. I didn't keep any to show, but trust me, it shows up really well. So anyway, that was about 5 days lost trying to get that done. And in the interim, I did complete the engine. It's a nice Volkswagen VW Beetle engine from the way back. I haven't put the exhaust horns on it yet, so this is the part you'll see sticking out. I was actually very impressed with this kit, with how decent the engine is compared to what some other folks have got for engines. I mean, this is a complete engine. It may not be 100% accurate and fully detailed, but it worked out okay. Just by the way, the painted sections of the engine, I decided to go with basically a metallic, what's the exact color here? Brushed pewter. It's kind of dark, and I figured against the chrome, which is going to be stuffed under the back of the car, it would, help things show up pretty well. Okay, there's the paint I actually used. Good old Martha. It's Martha Stewart's Crafts Multi-Surface Metallic, which I got at Michael's, by the way. And once again, the color is brushed pewter. So, engine came out nice. That was my one step forward. I did do the pewter with some Tamiya smoke. Tomato. Just to get it a little more shiny and to darken it up some more. I also did the chrome with the smoke also. So I'm not sure if I need another coat or not, but it's looking pretty good at this point. So once after getting all that done, I started my chroming test of what I was going to use to chrome with. And I have several spoons here with black. Some of them are Krylon, some are Rust-Oleum, because I had cans of each. And unfortunately, is probably is going to show too well, but the finish is not great. It looks like it ate into the spoon, and it's probably what the spoon's made of that made it do that, but I wasn't really enthusiastic, so there's a whole bunch of spoons I just basically have got no use for. What I wound up using was good old Model Masters Gloss Black. That's FS17038 is the federal standard number for Gloss Black. Can I had around, it's 1947 is their color. And I got a nice, decent, smooth finish out of it. Hopefully that shows how nice that is. That's the rougher of the two spoons, as a matter of fact. And then I was testing with, I also tested with some acrylics. This is actually, I used a satin black underneath and painted it with platinum is the color. I don't remember who makes them. And then this top piece here is just a little of the Tamiya Smoke, which actually looks really good on camera. Actually, this one I even brush painted. It shows that it's brush painted, but I figured if I was going to do it, I'd spray it, but I just wanted to see what the color concentration looked like. So it didn't come out too bad. But what I decided to do was I went with a Model Master. This is silver chrome trim. I don't know what the number is off the top. Oh, it's 2734 for you tester fans. I'll back that up a little bit. And that's what I'm thinking I'm going to use for my chrome, because it does look pretty good. I'm not sure. It's fairly shiny. It's not overly shiny, but I think it should be alright. I'm not sure if I should blacken it or not, but I'm probably not going to, because it's about the right. And in that vein, I have gotten once again I'll show my standard piece here. I have gotten the black sprayed. Came out pretty well. It's a little lumpy bumpy, but I'm not going to sweat it too much. So those pieces, it's the two rear fronts of the wheels and the two fronts of the wheels, the front pan, which is both sides, and the roll bar, which is this piece up here, right there. That's the roll bar. So I got that up to that point, and of course the paint on this is just dried. It's been cooking in my dehydrator for 36 hours roughly, and it's pretty well done. In the interim, I decided to work on the undercarriage, which is basically made up of these two pieces. They actually go, oops, sort of like that. This is the pan that the engine mounts onto, and this is the chassis, and that's where the rear springs will hang. For that, I used Ceramcoat charcoal. Back it up a little bit so maybe it focuses. And I took a little, on this part, I took a little gray, a lighter shade of gray, and did some dry brushing on it to try and bring out some of the detail, because once it was all just one color of gray, you kind of couldn't see a lot of the detail that was underneath here, and I figured I want it to show a little more. So since it'll be sitting like this, who will notice, but that's another story. The final thing I did was, of course, the body and the roof. Of course, this is the infamous Manx body in yellow. Not sure. Let's see. That's the original yellow of a non-painted piece. I still have to do the underneath here in black, front and back. Actually, I'm going to use the charcoal gray. And that's my painted color. And they're a pretty close match. By the way, this was another struggle. I basically painted and stripped this, well, stripped it 4 times, painted it 5. I was having some problems with my airbrush, spitting out some red paint that I had previously in the airbrush, which I thought I had cleaned out, but obviously didn't. And some other black dots. It's not perfect, but it looks pretty good. You know, I've got the body sanded down, and that's, by the way, there is no primer. I sanded the whole body after taking out the mold lines. I sanded the body with like a 600 and a 1000 grit papers, wet and dry, and then cleaned it with LA's Totally Awesome spray that I've made up. It's 3 ounces to a quart of water. And then I went over, since it was a couple days later, I went over it again with 70% alcohol and this nice little pad, and cleaned up anything that was left over. Actually, the paint on there is from one of the trips to stripping it, but that's the body and the nice roof, which of course you can't really tell. This is the battle I'm having, is how to put these together after painting. And I think I got an idea. I'm going to have to be getting in here and doing a little work. And I bought myself some plastic putty at a local hobby shop. It's actually a hobby town. And I'll try and fix any little seam that happens to show up. I did fit this, and I think I got it really close, so there shouldn't be too much of a seam. But I'll try and clean that up some more, so at least the sides look as if it's one piece. And let's see. The other things I worked on was, of course, I showed you this. I picked this up as an example of the chrome, but that's actually the gas tank, which fits up in here above the engine and below the gas cap. Kind of an odd situation that it's going to be right over top of the engine, but I didn't design it. And the question I have, I put together the front end. It's a little out of sequence, but that's the front end. And I'm wondering, did anybody else in their Tom Daniels build get a steerable front end? I did. Whoop, there it goes. Pretty surprised actually when I figured out that it's a working front end and steerable, and should be pretty good. I kind of like it. You know, I don't know. I like steerable front ends because you can either put the wheels straight forward, or you can put them a little cattywamped so that they look like he just pulled up and turned his wheel and stopped, or whatever. It gives a little bit more action to a build, so I kind of like those. Let's see, what else do I have to talk about? Oh, I didn't show the paint. The body paint is Butternut Ceramcoat Select Multi-Surface. I actually got this one at Hobby Lobby on their 30% off sale. I wished I could have used my 40% coupon, but it was on sale that week. Anyway, I thought that was a pretty good matching color. I think it'll go good with the red decals and everything else that's in there. So that's kind of where I'm at. I think I've shown you everything so far. I'm a lot in bits and pieces. I can't really continue any more construction until I get the body parts finished. One of those things I have to do is I need to clear coat with some Future on this. I have to finish chroming these parts, or else I can't really do any more, because you need to put the wheels on once you're starting to build the chassis, etc., etc. So, I got to get that done. And of course, these two parts are necessary to finish up the body. So I'm kind of at a standstill till I get that all painted. I've got the paint ready. I just got to get out there and do that. I want to clear coat that. I'm thinking about flat coating the bottom here to make it a little more blended. We'll see. I might clear it. I don't know. It's supposed to be a show car, but I don't know. After I saw an ice machine or an iced tea, I should say, that looked like it had been stored in a glacier. Really terrific build, but 2 thumbs up, that is, by the way. Dun, dun, dun. Don't ask me why I do these things. But, I'm kind of trying to stick to a straight build. I don't know how much variance I'm going to go beyond what I've done so far. Oh, that was the other thing I meant to show you. Okay. The tires. These are the fronts. I did sand them down on the edges, or on the flats, so they'd look pretty good. And here's the biggies. I think they came out pretty good. I'm probably going to spend a little time sanding in between here, because the molds didn't really line up. The other odd thing was they said not to glue these, and I'm kind of like, I don't know why you wouldn't glue these together. I did use super glue. I cleaned everything to make sure there was no mold release with isopropyl alcohol before I used the super glue on it. But I'm thinking about going through here, and I don't know how much that's going to show up, but if you look, you can see some super glue spots and some misalignments. So I've taken some of it to the sanding task, I think mostly on this one, and got it nice and straightened up and clean, and it looks pretty good. I kind of like the way that looks. So that's another trick before I mount them. And that should cover it. And also 18 minutes. A lot longer than I expected. I figured I'd just bomb through this. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subbing. Thanks for doing all you do in YouTube. We'll talk to you later. Maybe I'll have another update next week. I'm kind of hoping maybe I'll be some further along than this by next Monday. And we'll see you later. All right. Bye-bye.